Good morning to ya. In case you don't know what I always do on this series of videos that I've been doing for the last 7 years, the month of March, I always wear this tie because it's green. St. Patrick's Day, we wear green, hence the tie. And this is the first time I'm wearing this tie since I actually got it fixed. So shout out to the good folks over at BonJulie's and Horseheads for making this happen. I'd say look rather, I mean, don't get me wrong, I always loved this tie, but now that it's new and improved, and now it's as good as new, I should say. I look rather dashing, don't I? Yes, so welcome to the month of March. I am pumped right now, and I accidentally left my backpack right there. Let me move it out of the way real quickly. There we go. So, what's on the agenda for today? Well, first I should probably sit back down. And next I'll do my low, my high, my act of kindness. So, my low is I totally got the date wrong for something. Because yesterday I was saying I was going to go to the winter edition of Alive After 5. But I got the date wrong. It's March 28th, not February 28th. So, silly me. I mean, honestly, it didn't really impede anything. In fact, it kind of made my night a little bit easier. Plus, at the end of the day, I was able to achieve the main goal I wanted to set for myself yesterday, which was, and this was my high, I got to go to Rita's yesterday. Rita's open. And I had the sweet, delicious taste of Rita's. My go-to order is a Swedish fish Italian ice. So you know. If you don't know what Rita's is, it's, people in Pennsylvania will call this water ice, but it's an Italian ice and custard place. It's actually a chain that has a lot of locations along, like, the Northeast. So, yeah, it's a regional thing. It's actually the one chain that's on my Cutler list in terms of the best places to get a bite to eat. But, I mean, it's Rita's. It's that awesome. Right, but a little bit of an origin story about Rita's. It was actually founded by a firefighter from the Philadelphia area. And he named the business after his wife, Rita. That's the name. Oh, gosh. You know, as a Try Guys fan, even though Keith technically did this on the Eat the Menu special for Philadelphia, I hope he does a sole Eat the Menu for Rita's. I mean, it would be one of the more refreshing and fun things to do. Of course, knowing the Try Guys, they'd probably do it when it was like really cold out, like when Rita's just opens up for the year. Well, some Rita's locations are open year round, but that's like if it was like really warm, like consistently. Like I think there's one location that's in like Arizona or something like that. Actually, I think you can probably look up how many Rita's locations there are in the country. Anyway, what was my act of kindness? You know what, here's the thing. My mom really did make me a little bit upset yesterday, but in spite of that, my act of kindness was I at least emptied and filled the dishwasher for her. I mean, I don't want to get into what happened, but yeah, that was my act of kindness. So, I was about to answer what the agenda was for today. For today, I actually want to make things a little more, not somber, but I'm sorry, I can't think of the right word for it at the moment. holds significance, let's say. Because it was 1 year ago today that Akira Toriyama, the creator of Dragon Ball, sadly passed away. And after that, that's when I started my Arc Thought series. Now, what's especially significant about today is yesterday, February 28th, was the final episode of Dragon Ball Daima, at least as it was dubbed in Japan, and made and dubbed in Japan. Dragon Ball Daima was the final project that Akira Toriyama was working on before he died. Whether it's by design or by chance, there's something to be said about the final episode of the final project that Akira Toriyama worked on before he died comes out the day before it's been a year before he died. I hope I said that correctly, because I confused myself a little bit. But the point is, 1 year later, and for a lot of Dragon Ball fans, you know, it still holds a lot of weight to it. Because, I mean, after Akira Toriyama passed, what was going to happen? I mean, yeah, we were going to get Dragon Ball Daima, but what afterwards? And on top of that, if I got to this point in my arc thoughts, you know, how long would I keep it going for? A part of me actually, I would say a small part of me wanted to do an arc thoughts on Daima, having just finished watching the final episode of it last night. Yeah, fun fact, Dragon Ball Daima, not very long. It's only about 20 episodes. Actually, it is 20 episodes. So, theoretically, you could binge watch it in a day, if you really want to. However, it does create, and I mentioned this at the beginning of February, when I talked about how I was going to do my Arc Thought series going forward. Because I had just finished doing Universe 6, and then Goku Black would be next, which I just did a few days ago. Ultimately, I decided I'm going to wait until Daima's finished being dubbed into English before I consider doing the Arc Thoughts on it. And luckily, based on the release of the dubbed episodes, I can tell you when I'm going to do it. With that said, when we get to it, and I do my arc thoughts for this month, I'll be doing the Tournament of Power. In April, I'll do Super. And in May, because by that point, episode 20 of Dragon Ball Daima would have been dubbed and released in English, that's when I'll do my arc thoughts on Daima. So, as of right now, the arc thoughts order going forward is March I'm going to do Tournament of Power, April I'm going to do Broly, excuse me. May I'm going to be doing Dragon Ball Daima. June I'll be doing the Moro Saga. July I'll be doing Granola. And August I will be doing Superhero. Those are all the remaining arc thoughts I have to do before I either cut this series to an end or on the miracle that Dragon Ball Super actually concludes. Actually, you know what? If I'm feeling up for it, and knowing me, I probably will be, I'll consider doing one more arc thoughts in September, at least in regards to where Dragon Ball should go from there. Because the manga for Dragon Ball Super only just started again. And there's no way they're going to tie up any and all loose ends in March, April. releasing one chapter a month, by the way. You know, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. 7 chapters. Now, granted, each of those chapters is pretty long, like somewhere between 40 and 50 pages. So it would cover a lot, to be sure. However, there's no way they could finish all the story beats with that amount of time. No way. I mean, considering that Dragon Ball Super should be looking to end with what I believe is going to be called the Black Frieza Saga. I think it's going to take, it'll probably be deep into 2027 before that story ends. I really think that's how long it's going to take. Because, again, one chapter a month, there would be 7 chapters left. If I went from, this month, March to August, March, April, May, June, July, March, April, May, June, July, August. 6 months. Then September, October, November, December. So that'd be 10 chapters. A whole another year would be another 12, so 22. See, it's actually kind of hard to think, how am I going to go about doing that now? I mean, I guess I don't really need to worry about it now. I suppose the one thing I can do at this moment is share with you all what I thought of Daima. By the way, I'm not even wondering, this is not in our thoughts. This really is just me having come off of seeing the final episode of Dragon Ball Daima last night in Japanese and having a good night's sleep to process everything. There really is no better way to share my thoughts than what Masako X said. Shout out to Masako X. In regards to the series as a whole. Because if you don't know, Goku being wished into a kid, which is what Daima is, isn't anything new. In fact, that's what they did for Dragon Ball GT. Now, I'm sure many of you already know this, or if you've ever been on the internet, you've at least heard of this. But Dragon Ball GT really isn't that well liked amongst the fans. Save for a few really good story beats here and there. Like the Baby Saga, or the Shadow Dragon Saga, for instance. And there's quite a few beats that Daima adapted from GT. I don't want to get into what they are, not here. Used them, and now, in a lot of ways, whether the fans realize it or not, they're actually rather torn from what I've seen. Because on the one hand, everything that we've been seeing in Daima was amazing. In fact, I can at least tell you right now that Dragon Ball Daima is very good. And it's totally worth watching. And again, it's 20 episodes. You really could binge watch it in an afternoon if you really want to. However, some of those story beats, even the good ones that they took from GT and put into Daima, the fans are still kind of confused as to whether or not, should we like this? Should we dislike this? Why do they make him a kid again if we're only going to do this? Stuff like that. Me personally, I didn't mind anything. Well, yeah, I didn't really mind anything about it. I mean, frankly, if I had, well, again, that's why I do art thoughts, because I could really share my thoughts on the entire series as a whole under those circumstances. I'll just simply say what Masako X was saying, and that is, if after you finish watching Dragon Ball Daima, you watch it from beginning to end, well, and you somehow still either, oh, I don't like it, or boo, Dragon Ball Daima, or something along those lines, well, personally, if I'm the one hearing this, I'm like, why are you still watching it anyway if you're going to be a hater? But yeah, Moscow X said himself, if you didn't like what Dragon Ball Daima was, then you're just a hater. Because it really was a decently paced build-up to a truly great finale. It was. And the final episode in question, it checked up. Like, I could really just make a case that the series alone checked all the boxes with the last 3 episodes. But that's not what a good story should do. It should do everything in a gradual, slow crescendo and then get to your big climax at the end, which is what Dragon Ball Daima did. And, should I say this? You know what, why not? I'm not really going to be spoiling anything, but I will tell you, if you watch the final episode of Dragon Ball Daima, watch to the very end, because there's a post-credit sequence. A very hilarious post-credit sequence. So hilarious, in fact, that honestly, considering that this was the final project that Akira Toriyama worked on, and Akira Toriyama had his fair share of comedy in what he did as well, this is exactly the sort of comedy that only Akira Toriyama himself would have added to his own story. Which begs the question, how much of this was Akira Toriyama's work before he died? Me personally, I'm personally sure that Dragon Ball Daima was already planned and written out by Toriyama. And all it really had to do was be recorded and then animated. So, everything Akira Toriyama wanted to see in Daima was most assuredly put on the screen for us to see. Everything that he wanted, his baby, beat for beat, note for note, what we saw, I believe, really is what Akira Toriyama wanted. Unless I hear otherwise. Now, I've said this before. I'm a huge proponent of, if the series should continue, or, keep going, or wants to try something new, it should be up to, hold on, it should be up to the creator alone. And it should be put in the creator's hands. And no one else's. Like, frankly, Akira Toriyama really didn't need to do much after he finished Dragon Ball. He really could have retired and, simply lived a happy life. And arguably, had he stepped away from Dragon Ball after he was done, one can make the case he was still alive. Because, fun fact for you, the average life expectancy of a person in Japan is roughly 84 years old. I believe Japan is what is referred to as a blue zone, as in people who live in that area tend to live longer lives. However, the average life expectancy of a mangaka is like 62. Now, granted, Akira Toriyama was 68 before he died, which is above average for mangaka. However, it's still very much below average of, the average person living in Japan. It's actually why, as a One Piece fan, I really am worried for Ichiro Oda, because The worst thing that could happen if you're a One Piece fan is that Ichiro Oda dies. Because that means he wouldn't have been able to finish the story. Hopefully that doesn't happen. So, with Toyotaro continuing Dragon Ball Super, and at this point we really are going into uncharted waters here, I don't really know what to expect from the future. But I do know that as long as there's a bunch of Dragon Ball fans all over the world who want to see more, and they're excited about it, you know what? I'm excited too. I, for one, can't wait to see what happens next. If you're a Dragon Ball fan and this wasn't your cup of tea, I don't really know how to help you. But know that if you like Dragon Ball Daima, then you really are proof that everything Akira Toriyama worked on was worth all the while. Because what Akira Toriyama gave to the world may be imitated, but it'll never be duplicated. So, I know I said this a year ago, but Akira Toriyama, thank you for everything you've done. Not just for one individual Dragon Ball fan like myself, but for fans all over the world who loved your work. Oh, seriously, I really do mean all over the world. You have any idea how big Dragon Ball is in Europe and like South America and all the Latin America countries? Good God. But I'll get into more on that probably when I talk about Tournament of Power. So, once again, thank you, Akira Toriyama, for everything. To the good folks behind Dragon Ball Daima, you put out something amazing that I can't wait to see in English and then talk about in Arc Thoughts in a few months. And I don't think I can really talk about Dragon Ball Daima without talking about the legend herself, Masako Nozawa. If you don't know who Masako Nozawa is, she's the voice actress for Goku. She's been the voice actress for Goku from the very beginning, like in the 80s, when Dragon Ball was first being adapted into the anime. She's 88 years old, and she was voicing Goku with the same quality that she gave us from the very beginning. So, if there's one voiceover actor or actress you need to put respect on the name, it's Masako Nozawa. So thank you for being, she's the GLOW, no question. The L stands for lady. Yeah, man. Watch Dragon Ball Daima. Just do it. Even if for whatever reason you don't like it, you'll somehow still leave satisfied. And again, the post-credit sequence in the final episode really is one of the funniest things I've seen in a while. So you'll laugh, you'll be excited, and you're just going to have... That's actually the beautiful thing about watching Daima for me. Because as somebody who grew up watching Dragon Ball Z, and then later Dragon Ball Z Kai, and all the other Dragon Ball properties, watching it was always just good old-fashioned fun. And that's what watching Daima was for me. It was just good old-fashioned fun. And if you're not having fun, you're simply not doing it right. I hope you like this video. If you don't like it, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow me on social media. As always, I'm very humble in this video. For all the guys who watch and enjoy our video, hopefully you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Saturday. Happy Saturday, folks. Happy March 1st. I get to wear my green tie again. And remember, if you guys want to talk or chat, I want you to be here to let me know. Hold your back. Take care and make good choices. 607 all day, baby.